Hawksbee and Charlie Baker here on talkSPORT. We cross to our chief football correspondent, Alex Crook, for some not altogether unexpected breaking football news. Crookie, tell us what's happened.
Yeah, good afternoon, boys. It shows how fast-moving this story is. I thought I had half an hour of free time to pop and do a little 5K on the treadmill, 2.5K in. Here I am in the car park, speaking to you guys. As you say, the worst-kept secret in football, really. Ange Postecoglou has just been confirmed by Nottingham Forest as their new head coach. Of course, we broke the news last night that Nuno Espirito Santo was leaving Forest, sacked, having guided them into European football for the first time since the 1990s last season. I said then I'd be very surprised if it wasn't Postecoglou, despite the fact Forest sources were telling us they didn't have a ready-made replacement lined up. Clearly they did. We got footage of the former Tottenham boss arriving at the Forest training ground an hour and a half or so ago, and Forest now rubber stamping that appointment. And interestingly, the theme of this statement, which is a little bit light on detail, doesn't mention how long Postecoglou's contract will be for. We understand it's a 2-year deal. We're waiting to find out about the makeup of his backroom team as well. But the theme running through it for me is about trophies. They point to the fact that Postecoglou guided Tottenham to their first silverware in 17 years, of course, winning the Europa League last season, qualifying for the Champions League. And quotes from Evangelos Marinakis, the owner, who ultimately has made the decision to change manager, says, "We're bringing a coach to the club who has a proven and consistent record of winning trophies." He goes on to say that after gaining promotion to the Premier League, building consistently season after season to secure European football, we must now take the right step to compete with the very best and challenge for trophies. So the gauntlet's been laid down really to Ange Postecoglou. Deliver silverware, and that might be easier said than done.
We'll let you get back on the treadmill, Crookie. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Cheers, Crookie.
Cheers, guys.
Alex Crook there, got him out of bed last night.
Wow.
Interrupting a gym session today.
Work really gets in the way of his life.
Let's get immediate reaction to that story that Ange Postecoglou is the new head coach of Nottingham Forest from a legend, the club, Tony Woodcock. Hi, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Well, that's all been very fast moving, this, Tony. So, first, let's get your thoughts on Ange coming in.
Well, first of all, it's not happy news that when a manager gets dismissed or decides to go after quite a successful period with the club. And I know for a fact that Nottingham supporters, the city, they were delighted with what's happening at the club. Yeah. Having said that, Mr. Marinakis is put his money where his mouth is. He's been investing. Nottingham Forest have been getting better and better, and he's made a decision now that we've been reading about over the last week or 10 days, that something behind closed doors may have been happening. And what's really good, he's made a quick decision. They've got Big Ange in. I'm a big fan of his as well. We were neighbours in North London. I bumped into him on the streets. We've had a long chat. He knew all about Nottingham Forest and the Brian Clough years and the famous Miracle Men, and even about the time of my years in Cologne, when he was chatting about. So I'm delighted that Nottingham Forest have got him, and let's hope for improvements to carry on and on over the next few years.
Do you have any concerns about what you saw at Tottenham and the way that ultimately unfolded? Yes, they did win a trophy last year, but they also finished one place above the relegation zone with a lot of injuries.
I would have kept him at Spurs. And I'm an Arsenal man through and through. And that was a good thing for Spurs, I thought. But, decision was made. He wasn't gone there. He wasn't at the club very long then. And then that's it. Football's very quick moving. Things move on very, very quickly, as we've just seen in the last 24, 48 hours. I like the sound of him. As I said, I don't know him that well, but I've met him. I think he's a football man through and through. I think he talks a little bit of old school football. Right, he's not sort of messing around with things. He's straight to the point and lets the players get on with it. And I think personally that's a good thing. So I'm expecting Forest to go from strength to strength.
The fans as well as anyone at Forest, Tony. Do you think they'll be happy with the change?
As I just said, it's always disappointing and sad when things like this happen, and we don't know what's been happening behind closed doors. But because of the speed of getting a replacement in, and the quality of the guy that they brought in as well, I think the excitement's going to be there. As I've just previously said, I know there's everyone in Nottingham speaking about European football because they haven't had it for so many years. And then we had the famous Miracle Men. So the excitement is there. Unfortunately, that's how it is in football. I think Nuno will be quickly forgotten, and if Ange gets a few good results, it's going to be glory, glory again for everyone. But it's not going to be easy. But I think it's a good trainer, a good manager, a good coach, as we say these days. You don't say we've got a new manager in, we've got a coach or a head coach in. So that's a slight sort of detail of what perhaps happens to the football club. With the signing of Edu coming in to having a bit of a powerful situation, a powerful position at the club. Head coaches are there to get points, to get the team to win things and get them up the league.
One of the comments since Ange was linked with the job and has now ultimately got it was that they'd assembled a team to play Nuno ball and now they had to play Ange ball. I just wonder, with some of the business that Edu's been involved with, and it seems there was some frustrations from Nuno that maybe he wasn't getting some of the players that he felt he needed, that won't be an issue. Do you see any issue with the personnel not being right for an Ange Postecoglou team?
Well, listen, you have to look at the personnel and you have to then adapt your team to what you've got there as footballers. It's no use if you're going to start putting high balls into the penalty box if you've got a small guy up there as centre forward. So you've got to look what players you've got available and what type of football and what type of player is best for position for the qualities he's got. So I've got no doubts about it that Big Ange will look at this and he'll sort it out. It may not be done quickly overnight because, new, I would call them head coaches, come in and they want their certain type of player. It's the case as well that how do Nottingham Forest Football Club want to play their football? They've been brought up on success of Brian Clough, who was a footballing man. We played really, really good football. Having said that, we could mix it with the best, however they wanted to play. So it's down to your personnel, it's down to the players you've got in the club and the way you're going to start playing, right? So he'll check that out. We know he's had success at every club he's gone to, and I wish him all the best at Nottingham Forest.
I was saying earlier on, Tony, that I'm sure he has learned from his 2 years at Tottenham. He's obviously learned from every country he's worked in, but the 2 years at Tottenham would have given him an idea of what you need to manage in the Premier League. And potentially, as I say, the Forest could be getting a better manager than Tottenham did simply for those 2 years of experience and everything he's learned in that time.
Oh, he's going to be fine, right? The way he conducts himself, the way he speaks about the game. I've spoke to one or two people around the Tottenham thing. Some couldn't cope with his, how would you want to say, being very forward, being straight, knowing what the players want. As I say, probably a bit of an old school, coach in that sort of thing. But I don't think it's going to be any problem. He's been at Glasgow Celtic. He's been around the bush. He's had a lot of players under him. He's going to be fine. In fact, we have a podcast called Grumpy Old Men of Football with Peter Reid and Viv Anderson, and we'll be talking about this and how quickly things move in football and what it's like for the head coaches, managers, directors of football and the structures, what are happening in a football club in the next couple of weeks. So it's going to be an interesting period.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons 1 till 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.